Okay, this is the ClimbInfo for free response question part A, and they give us a class that we don't have to write anything in, um, but it's just called the ClimbInfo, and all it stores is the name of the peak that was climbed and how long it took to climb it. So you have your constructor here that you're going to use in some of these questions, and then they don't show it here, but you probably have some instance variables that would represent the name and the time, right? And then you get them with these public methods. So if you want like a more like complete picture of it, it would probably look like this, right? You have instance variables, and then you would have the constructor that sets them, and then the get method would just get access to those private variables. Okay, so you are going to use a constructor and also these get methods throughout this question. So this that's a climbing info class, right? And then we're going to write methods inside of what's called the climbing club, which doesn't keep track of its members for some reason. All it keeps track of is all the climbs it's done. So it has an array list of all the climbs, and each climb, remember, has a name and a time. All right, so they have one instance variable that is the array list. Basically, you can think of this as an array list um, that keeps track of all their climb info objects. Okay, so the constructor of this climbing club just makes the new array list, which is initially blank. And then we have to write the add climb method, but we have to kind of do it twice. One where they get put in the order that they're added, and then the other we'll put them in alphabetical order by the name of the peak. Okay, so for in part A here, they kind of have an example um, where they make the new climbing club and then they climb these mountains. Apparently pretty slow. These are kind of slow times. When I do whiteface, it usually takes me 10, 11 minutes. Um, at any rate, so what it would look like for part A is here's the private array list. All right, and in this example, the add climb just adds them in order. So if Mona Doc Knock, whatever, is first, then it would go um, in first. I don't know why this is such a struggle. Then someone in the climbing club climbs Whiteface, so that goes in next. And then Algonquin, so that just goes in next. And then someone else climbs, or maybe it's the same person, doesn't matter. They do another climb of Monadnock, or whatever the heck that is, so it just goes on the end. All right, so it just adds them in one at a time in the order that they were added here. Okay, so for this one, all you got to do is just make a new climb info object, because that's what this is, with the name and the time, and then just add it to the end of the list. So the regular dot add, if you call it array list, so climb list dot add your new climb info object, it'll just by default add it to the end. So it's pretty straightforward for part A. Okay, so in part A, I have to make a new climb info object, right? Because all of these are climb info objects in this array list. Right, so to do that, I'm just going to do climb info climb equals new climb info, and then just pass in the two variables, peak name and climb time. Right, so that's what the constructor takes in. Climb info takes in those two things. All right, and then I just add it to the array list. So I just call climb list dot add the new climb. All right, and it always adds it to the end, and so that's all we got to do for part A, right? And the list has already been initialized, right? That happened in the constructor, so we don't have to do that here. We just have to make the new climb info object with those two variables and then add it to the list. Okay, there'll be another video for part B.